So the Brewers will play +3 on their bench here today. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals, they came in here knowing they needed a sweep, and they have taken care of the first 2 games of this series. And here is La Russa's Piggly Wiggly batting order. Rafael Furcal leads off, John Jay, then Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday, Lance Berkman, and Skip Schumacher in the middle, with Yadier Molina, Daniel Descalso, and Brandon Dixon making his major league debut as a starting pitcher. There's Giovanni Gallardo, and he has always pitched well coming off Brewers losses, and the Brewers will count on him once again today.
Yeah, he's won 2 in a row. He had a very good month of August, 3-1, a 2.06 earned run average in 5 starts. He's 1-1 against the Cardinals this year with a 277 earned run average.
Ready for the first pitch of the ball game. Gallardo against Furcal, misses down and in, and away we go on a humid, sunny Thursday afternoon. Jeff Nelson calling the balls and strikes. Marty Foster, Bill Welke, and the crew chief Tim Cheetah on the bases. And Furcal pulls that one right field line, and that will hook foul. Furcal has been a thorn in the side of the Brewers during this series. Check the Brewers defensively. Braun, Morgan, and Hart in the outfield. McGee, Betancourt, Hairston, and Fielder go around the horn. Jonathan Lucroy does the catching today. Now the Brewers are headed to Houston tonight. They'll match up with the Astros this weekend, while the St. Louis Cardinals are headed back home. Just a quick 3-game road trip for St. Louis. They start a series, a 3-gamer with the Cincinnati Reds beginning tomorrow night. Rafael Furcal was a game changer last night, not just at the plate, but defensively as well. And that one's hit hard to right, and Furcal's going to watch this one go. Rafael Furcal has turned into Albert Pujols in this series. He has 5 home runs this year. 4 of them have come against Milwaukee.
Well, he gave him a fastball right down the middle, and just like yesterday with Randy Wolf, Wolf had him a 2-0 fastball that he knocked out to left, and Furcal's seeing the baseball pretty well in this series. Check it out. I mean, Gallardo trying to put one on the outside corner. Watch where it ends up, middle in, and Furcal able to pull the hands in and knock it on out of here. So one right-handed last night and one from the left side today. Once again, the Brewers have to play from behind.
Well, Furcal, no doubter, that one ended up in the bleachers in right field as John Jay, a little flare. Betancourt is on the run. He's got it. Nice over-the-shoulder catch from Uni B, out number 1 of the ball game. Rafael Furcal, a key acquisition for the Cardinals. They picked him up from the Los Angeles Dodgers.
And as is the case, you hit a home run, you go talk to the hitting coach.
Good coaching.
You strike out, you go find a corner in the dugout and don't talk to anybody.
So 1 gone, and here comes Albert Pujols. He homered yesterday in the first inning as well. Pujols has had just 1 hit in this series. He's reached base 3 times, 1 hit, that homer, and 2 walks so far in the first 2 games.
The Brewers have not led in this series yet. Cardinals have been able to get on the board first. Brewers able to tie it up on a couple of occasions, but that's been it.
And Pujols goes deep to left, and he stands there and watches it go out of here. And it's 2-0 Cardinals. Rinse and repeat from yesterday.
Now, nobody in baseball will stand and watch a home run longer than Albert Pujols, and he did it that time. Of course, if you hit one that far, you have the right to watch it. That fastball down and in. Albert gives it a look, and that ball is off the nice stadium club. A bomb for Albert Pujols, and as you mentioned, the start today identical to last night.
2-0 Cardinals. And now Matt Holliday, and he takes a big rip at Gallardo. Well, St. Louis has found something here in Milwaukee. They were puttering along for most of the second half, but now the Cardinals have won 5 of their last 6 ball games, including the first 2 in this series. And now out to a terrific start today with 2 runs on the board, just exactly what they wanted to do in front of this big crowd at Miller Park.
And give some confidence to a young pitcher making his first big league start.
Yesterday the Cardinals winning 8-3. It was Jake Westbrook beating Randy Wolf. Both pitchers went 5 innings. Westbrook not only picked up the win, but he hit a grand slam yesterday. Holiday had 1 hit yesterday, was 1 for 5, had a double that missed being a home run by a couple of feet in deep right center field. There's a strike called. Holiday takes a fastball on the inside corner, and Gallardo has his first strikeout.
Yeah, we talked on the air about the command for Gallardo when we came on the air initially, and when he's on the corners with that fastball, low 90s, he'll get it up there at about 95 from time to time, but his location has been very good with the fastball early in games, not so much here in the first inning. That last fastball to Holiday catching the inside corner, good pitch.
And that'll bring up Lance Berkman now at 2 in, and nobody on. Gallardo with a fastball in there for a strike. Berkman 30 homers, 81 driven in for the Cardinals. Pujols now with 80 RBIs to go along with 33 homers. Very productive middle of the order, and Pujols not having a Pujols type year, which is a testament to how good he has been over his decade in the big leagues.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Albert to get to 200, or I should say 100 RBIs this year. He's going to have a big month in order to do that.
With that home run by Pujols, number 33, he has at least 32 homers in all of his 11 seasons in the major leagues. 0-2 the count on Lance Berkman. A little bit low with a fastball, 1-2. Berkman a much bigger threat from the left side than he is the right. And the Cardinals RBI leader coming into play today. Little half swing, he goes, says Jeff Nelson, and Gallardo picks up a couple of strikeouts to end the inning, but the Cardinals strike with 2 homers, a solo shot by Furcal and a solo shot by Pujols. And Pujols and Ron Renick's club will have to play from behind once again, and Renick's batting order today brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. It's Corey Hart, Nigel Morgan, Ryan Braun. The middle is Fielder, McGee, and Betancourt, with Hairston, Lucroy, and Gallardo rounding it out. And a guy making his first start in the big leagues, Brandon Dixon, called up from AAA Memphis. Good numbers down there. He's done about all he can do in AAA rock, and he gets a chance to start in the big leagues here this afternoon.
Yeah, signed as a free agent in 06. Wasn't even drafted. He's a big guy, 6'5", 190 pounds. Doesn't throw all that hard. The Brewers, minor leagues have seen him in Nashville, and most recently pitched against Nashville on Sunday and got hit around pretty good.
Corey Hart, a bouncer over to short for call. Winds it up, throws him out for out number 1. Defensively for the Cardinals behind Brandon Dixon. Got an outfield of Matt Holliday, John Jay, and Lance Berkman. Descalso, Furcal, Schumacher, and Pujols around the horn. And Yadier Molina does the catching, and he'll try to navigate Brandon Dixon through his first major league start. Dixon did make 2 relief appearances for the Cardinals earlier this year, and you see Logan Schaefer just arriving from Nashville, and Taylor Green, who has been here for the homestand.
I would imagine those 2 guys were given an extensive scouting report, not just to Dale Swain, but guys probably going over to their locker wondering about this guy, what he throws.
Nigel Morgan down at a count 0-2. Niger hitting .307 to start play today. He was 0 for 4 last night, scored a run. 307 average with 3 homers, 32 driven in. You'll probably see Morgan in the lineup the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Right-hander scheduled to pitch for the Astros, and then a left-hander Sunday. And that'll most likely be the time when you see Carlos Gomez back in the starting lineup for Sunday's game against Wandy Rodriguez. But the Brewers are happy to have their platoon back in center field. Gomez returning to the active roster today. Morgan up the middle, and it's a base hit under the dive of Schumacher. So a base runner for Braun with 1 away, and Ryan, after his much watched, much talked about trip around the bases last night, appears to be all right. No significant injuries to speak of except in his pride. He was trying to stretch it into his first ever inside the park home run, and he got clipped up. He said he got off stride. The base threw him off his stride, and down he went, and it ended up being a triple and an RBI for Ryan Braun.
And just glad that Ryan didn't hurt himself. I think everybody was holding their breath when he hit the ground. He finally got up, a smile on his face, and he knew right away he was going to be all right.
Now the Brewers were poking a little fun at Ryan Braun earlier today, which was actually very encouraging to show up to the ballpark and see what his teammates thought of his jaunt between third and home. Shows you a loose ball club.
Some extensive work being done down the third base line before the game.
They took a lot of time.
Yes, they did.
To remember the moment between third and home last night for Ryan Braun. We'll show it to you. So when you show up to the ballpark today, you see this activity going on. Apparently that is the speed bump that got him. Sean Markham, Marcus Hanel all involved. And this was the finished product.
That's pretty good work with tape.
The chalk line with tape. The area of concern, the restricted area. Got a good laugh. Braun breaks his bat for call to second for 1. Schumacher finishes it off, and a double play. To the second we go, 2-0 St. Louis. This was last night for call as a right-handed hitter, homering to start the game, and then Pujols into center field, a solo home run. That's how the game began last night. The game begins today like this for call from the left side going deep. His 5th home run of the year, and Pujols bangs out number 33.
I think the Brewers need to reevaluate the way they're pitching to Furcal, because he's getting some pretty good pitches to hit.
Gallardo back on the mound. Skip Schumacher leads off.
Of course, fastballs down the middle are going to be always hit in the major leagues, and those are the pitches that he was able to hit out of the ballpark last couple days.
Schumacher back in the starting lineup today. He was at second base on Tuesday night. Yesterday, Ryan Theriot started for La Russa at second base. Schumacher did play in the game. Ended up in right field eventually. Versatile utility player that has found most of his playing time against right-handed starters at second base this season. They converted him from a full-time outfielder a couple of years ago. But still can play in the outfield. Schumacher lifts one high in the air. Betancourt will make the call. And the first out.
He's always been a good contact hitter around the 300 mark, and he's Tony La Russa's answer to Jerry Hairston.
Now the Cardinals only expanded their roster by 1 player, Brandon Dixon, the only player that was promoted to the major leagues. The thought is, and the same for Milwaukee, the minor league season ends on the 5th of September. And when that minor league season ends, you might see another wave of September call-ups. And it's certainly the case for the Cardinals. The Brewers have a couple of more players in mind they'd like to bring up as well, but the players that are here are the specialty type players that Ron Renicky can and will most certainly use. A defensive specialist in Logan Schaefer, whom Renicky calls his second best defensive outfielder in the entire organization. Only Carlos Gomez, a better defensive outfielder. And then you've got a third catcher in Martin Maldonado.
And plus you have a pinch runner in Logan Schaefer as well. I mean, that can be used as you get down into September. You can pinch run for your catcher because you have the third catcher on the bench. And why not? If you can expand the roster, bring them up as long as you're going to use them. And I think Ron Renicky will use both of those guys.
Yadier Molina with one away. He's had a nice series here against the Brew Crew. He is 4 for 8. And over his last 3 games, going back to the final game for the Cardinals at Busch Stadium, 6 for his last 12. That was against the Pirates. Cardinals have now won 3 straight. As Molina lifts one in the air to right, Corey Hart is under it. Out number 2.
Yeah, go to Valvoline Instant Oil Change, home of the Instant 4-pack. Buy 2 Terrace Reserve tickets and get 2 free. Offer good for select games with your Instant 4-pack coupon, only from Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Still got some folks filing in here. It's a warm day in Milwaukee and an unusual start time today. A 3:10 first pitch. A lot of great sporting events in the state of Wisconsin here today. The Packers will be playing an exhibition NFL game. You got the Badgers opening up their season, Badger football, against UNLV just up the road. And Gallardo retires Descalso and a good bounce back inning, 3 up and 3 down. And our Powerball home run leaderboard, Prince Fielder sitting on 29. He is trying to get to 30, which would be 5 consecutive seasons with 30 or more home runs, and nobody in franchise history has ever done that. Jeremy Burnett's had 4. Fielder sitting on 4 in a row, and he'd love to accomplish that goal here today at Miller Park in the final game of this homestand. So Fielder, McGee, and Betancourt against Brandon Dixon. Brewers got a hit in the first inning. Nigel Morgan with a single, but Braun bounced into a 6-4-3 double play.
The Cardinal pitching has been eating up Brewer bats last couple of days. Ryan broke his bat on that ground ball. There were a number of broken bats last night, which tells you that the Cardinals are trying to pitch the Brewers inside.
There's a diving stop by Descalso to his feet to make the play for the out. Terrific defensive play by the Cardinal third baseman.
Yeah, the shift was on for Prince, and that's normally a ball that's going to be ticketed into the hole. You can see where he is playing right in that hole, and one step and a hop, and he's able to eat it up and throw him out. It's been that kind of homestand for Prince.
One away for Casey McGee. Outstanding play as you see it on Exmo. McGee into right center, and that's going to get down. It'll go to the wall. McGee on his way to second. Got to hurry here. The throw coming in late, and McGee with a double.
Yeah, he pulled up pretty quickly, didn't he? About a third of the way to second base. He kind of put on the brakes and able to get into second base with 1 out. A good piece of hitting by Casey, pulling the hands in and hitting it hard into the gap in right center. Ball came right back to John Jay, and Casey in with a double.
Safe at second, safe and secure. New York Life. 20th double of the year for McGee, and now it's Betancourt with a runner at second. Well, Uni had a good night last night. Had a couple of hits. Was robbed of a third opportunity at a hit on a great play from Rafael Furcal.
Renicky looking for maybe an opportunity to give Betancourt a day off, but he's not going to do it today after a good day at the plate. That's the last time you want to sit a guy.
Now Betancourt had a triple yesterday in the 4th inning. His 3rd triple of the year. It snapped an 0 for 23 run at the plate, and then backed it up with another hit his next time up. And if not for the range of Rafael Furcal would have had 3 consecutive hits last night as Furcal picked him apart in the 9th inning last night. A bouncer, Descalso in fair territory. Long throw in time. McGee will advance. The second out. Casey advances on the throw. 2 outs, a runner at third. Descalso has made a couple of good plays in this frame.
Got a big arm, able to get Betancourt. And right down the line, Descalso was able to get into foul territory with it. And he froze the rope over to Albert. He's setting his feet, making sure that he knew he had time, that he got to the baseball quickly. The crow hop and a good arm to first. Say Dixon's a lot like Westbrook in that he gets a lot of ground ball outs. Every out has been on the ground.
Here's Jerry Hairston. Hairston getting most of the work at second base these days. Earned that spot. The Brewers designated Felipe Lopez for assignment. Doesn't look like Ricky Weeks is going to be returning to the active roster for at least a couple of weeks as Hairston pops it up. Back is Furcal. Holiday coming in, and Holiday makes a catch for the out. The inning is over, and the Brewers let a 1-out double go by. Visit Bucks.com/Fox Sports Wisconsin before September 5 at noon to register. Brandon Dixon at the plate. Does have a hit this year in his brief tour in the major leagues. He was actually a good hitter down in AAA this season. Had 8 hits and 41 at bats. He hit for a 195 average. Very respectable for a pitcher at the plate. Over the mound, Betancourt coming in, throws on the run, throws it into the dugout. And Dixon will head to second base.
Pitcher's doing damage once again. Westbrook with a grand slam. Now Dixon, he's at second base with nobody out for the top of the order. A little hopper over Yo's head and a good throw, and he gets him at first base. And watch Betancourt. He drops the arm a little bit to try and get himself in position. He's got his momentum going toward right. And airmails first base.
It looked like he would have had him. They're going to credit Dixon with a single, an infield hit, and then an E6 that puts him at second base. And then back to the top of the order now with Furcal. Feels like the middle of the summer here today on September 1st. A little heat wave has come across the Midwest.
Perfect weather for baseball today. This is perfect. Not a whole lot of humidity, and you got some nice warm air out there. Ball carries pretty well. Good day to be sitting out in the sun here at Miller Park.
Stealing some rays before the big choke comes.
And it's a coming. You know that. There's not a lot of sun here right now. Just a little bit beyond third base. A lot of sun in the bleachers.
Furcal walks on 4 straight. 2 on with nobody out here in the 3rd inning. Quick trip to the mound by Jonathan Lucroy.
Almost a guarantee that Jay's going to be bunting here. Get second and third for Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. But you never know what Tony La Russa has up his sleeve. Well, you got the pitcher on with a base hit and an error and a 4-pitch walk to Furcal. And now the Brewers are in trouble.
2 runs in the first for the Cardinals. Furcal and Pujols with solo homers again today. Now 2 on, nobody out. John Jay, the batter, not bunting, and he takes a ball, and Gallardo cannot find the strike zone to start this 3rd inning. This Cardinal ball club can swing the bats, no question, and a game can get away in a hurry, especially with this lineup, and especially the middle of this lineup with Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman.
Amazing that they're not bunting in this situation. I guess Tony La Russa figuring if Jay advances the base runners, they're just going to walk Pujols, and I guess he doesn't want to take the bat out of Albert's hand.
Right off the helmet of Lucroy, a foul ball to go to 1-2 on Jay. That had to smart a little.
That's why you wear the helmet.
Gallardo needs a strikeout here. Jay's been a good hitter. John Jay's success at the plate, the reason the Cardinals were willing to part with Colby Rasmus, and trading away Rasmus allowed the Cardinals to pick up some pitching help. Jay back up the middle. Hairston lays out. He's got it. Can't get it out of his glove, but he does save a run. But now the bases are loaded for Albert Pujols. An infield hit for Jay. Albert Pujols with home runs in his last 2 games. Last night in the 1st inning, that was his only hit of the night. He hit a rocket to center field, number 32 of the year, and hit number 33 just a few moments ago. Part of that 2-run 1st inning for St. Louis.
And that one today was a blast. And one of the farthest ones we've seen hit this year to left field.
Well, you never want to put too much emphasis on an early at bat, but here in the Cardinal 3rd inning, this is a key at bat in this game. Bases loaded and Pujols at the plate.
Yeah, very similar to Randy Wolf last night. You know, Yo's having a tough time commanding the fastball.
That one's hit well to right. Back is Corey Hart running out of room, and that one is gone. And a grand slam home run by Albert Pujols. And the Brewers are in a deep hole once again. You could just feel it coming, the way this inning was shaping up.
Just really can't command his pitches today, and we haven't seen this from Gallardo in a while, and we haven't really seen him much at home all year. A fastball up out over the plate. Albert is strong enough, doesn't even have to get good extension on it, and knocks it out of here to right. So back-to-back games for the Cardinals with grand slams. One from the pitcher last night, and Albert Pujols, his 2nd home run of the day.
Here's Matt Holliday. 6-0 St. Louis. And all of the runs produced via the home run ball. 2 by Pujols. Gives him 34 for the season now. Albert's already driven in 5 of the 6 runs in 2 at-bats. Pujols with his 12th career grand slam. Corey Hart made a valiant effort but ran out of room and lost his glove.
Lost his glove, had to get it back. Hey, you never know what you're going to get out there in the air trans zone. A big league glove, but you have to give it back. You can hear a pin drop in this ballpark right now.
You got to give the Cardinals a lot of credit. The series began with St. Louis trailing the Brewers by 10.5 games. Tuesday night was a thriller, a 2-1 final. The Cardinals, despite going 0 for 10 from their big three, Holiday, Berkman, and Pujols, were able to squeeze out a 2-1 victory Tuesday night. Lopsided affair last night, 8-3, and now the Cardinals up 6-0 as we play in the third inning. Gallardo strikes out Matt Holiday. Well, you might be encouraged to know that a guy on the mound for the Cardinals making his first big league start, but the Brewers have not had a lot of success this year, and even going back the last couple of years, against pitchers that they do not know, pitchers that they have not seen. Think about Brad Lincoln's performance against Milwaukee on the last road trip against the Pirates.
And the guys on the Brewers roster right now are that have faced them and have had some success against them are not in the starting lineup. It should have been Chris Carpenter today. He was held back. He's wondering where are the 6 runs for me.
Carpenter will start tomorrow against Cincinnati. Originally, La Russa had Jaime Garcia, Jake Westbrook, and Chris Carpenter to start in this series. Garcia was just skipped, flat out skipped, and Carpenter pushed back a day. Gallardo strikes out Lance Berkman for out number 2.
Hey, on Sunday, September 25th, the Brewers take on the Florida Marlins. All fans in attendance get a Randy Wolf bobblehead, compliments of Robert Hack diamonds. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to the Brewers website, brewers.com.
There's Randy Wolf, got a brand new hat. Gave his hat away yesterday on his way out. The big inning for the Cardinals last night was the 4th. It was a grand slam by Westbrook in the 4th inning. Today it is a 3rd inning grand slam by Pujols. A jam shot out to Hairston. And the side is finally retired, but Albert Pujols does big damage. A grand slam home run to make it 6-0 St. Louis. Brewers.com.
We got ours. We had a delivery of a Ryan Braun gold t-shirt. Looking nice.
Nice.
Brawny.
Is that double X?
No. Another couple of weeks I'm going to be able to fit into this XL. Couple of real good walking towns we're going to, you know.
You do a lot of sweating in Houston.
Yeah. St. Louis. Walk to Mississippi.
Well, we'll see if the Brewers can start to chip away at that 6-run deficit. It's an ugly scoreboard for Milwaukee right now. Brandon Dixon has gone through the first 2 innings scoreless. He's given up 2 hits. Lucroy into left field. That is way back, and there it goes. Jonathan Lucroy with a home run. That's a good start. Number 10 of the year for Lucroy.
Well, falling behind 2-0, Dixon has to come in with a fastball, and Jonathan Lucroy, who put on an impressive display in optional batting practice today, and brings it to the game. And Dixon knew it right away. You know, pitchers know when they can hear the contact. The reaction of Dixon just puts his head down, spins around, and looks for a new baseball. And Jonathan puts a charge into that one.
And now Gallardo into left field, a base hit. So the Brewer pitcher getting into the act, taking out a little frustration on Brandon Dixon. So Lucroy batting 8th goes deep, and now Gallardo is aboard for the top of the order. Well, this Brewer offense can be very explosive, and they're going to need it today. Corey Hart sitting on a 13-game hitting streak. He homered in the first inning last night. Now 22 home runs for the year.
got to peck away. You can't try and get it all back at the same time. You're Corey Hart. You're not thinking about trying to hit home runs. Get on base. And try and peck away inning by inning. But the key is Brewers are going to have to keep the Cardinals off the scoreboard as well.
Hard into left field. On his way back. Holiday looks up. And it's gone. A home run for Corey Hart. Just like that. It is 6-3 St. Louis as Hart goes deep for the 23rd time, extending his hitting streak to 14 in a row.
Yes, I told him not to try and hit home runs. Peck away a little by little. Well, 3 spot with nobody out. And Corey Hart with number 22. Boy, is he hot or what? Actually 23, my mistake. Corey taking that pitch down and in and knocking it on out of here, a line drive. Ordinarily, Corey hits him high and far. That was a bullet. It just barely made it over that left field wall. Now Brewers right back in this baby. That didn't take long.
Shows you the kind of power that Hart has. That was off the end of the bat, toward the end of the bat. And Hart still able to get it out of here. Powerball home run number 23 for Corey Hart.
Ball's carrying pretty well today.
Is it going to be one of those days? The Brewers certainly hope so. Spotting the Cardinals 6 runs. They have gotten half of them back with the first 3 batters of this 3rd inning.
A good answer by the Brewers offense after that 4th spot in the 3rd. You can see where Corey catches his baseball just a little bit down toward the end. He didn't miss the sweet spot by much, but he hit it hard and just able to sneak it over that fence.
Nigel Morgan, who singled his last time up. Nigel with his 5th hit on the homestand, now 5 for 17 at the plate. And out in front of it, off speed from Brandon Dixon. Mitchell Boggs loosening in the bullpen. Tony La Russa will waste no time with Brandon Dixon. The Nashville Sounds, the AAA affiliate of the Brewers, roughed him up his last time out. And a strike called. Morgan is rung up. Went to the back door with a breaking ball, and Nigel Morgan strikes out for the first out of the inning.
Now they say it's a knuckle curve that Dixon has, and that just looked like a cutter that was on the outer half of the plate, catches the outside corner, and Nigel knew it. That pitch was 78 miles an hour, and it looked like a cutter, but took a little bit off.
He's 6'5", Brandon Dixon. As Ryan Braun bats. Braun bounced into a 6-4-3 double play in the 1st inning. That ended the inning. Jose Reyes of the Mets had 2 hits last night. He was 2 for 4, and Reyes hitting .336 to start play today. Braun now at .332. Reyes leading the National League in batting average. Braun second. Two balls and a strike on Ryan Braun. You see where Ryan ranks. He is tops in the National League in runs scored. He scored 92 runs this year. He's also tops in the league in slugging percentage. Second behind Reyes in batting average, and he's in the top 5. Game-winning RBIs, go-ahead RBIs, and total runs batted in. His next RBI will be his 90th. 25 games remaining as he swings and misses. He chases one out of the zone. 2-2. You don't see Braun do that very often.
92 runs scored for Ryan Braun. That speaks volumes for what Prince Fielder has done behind him in the lineup. Good speed, able to steal bases, get into scoring position for Prince. The total package, Ryan Braun.
Braun is also among league leaders in stolen bases. with 31. Currently 6th in the league. Power, speed. Currently 3rd in the league in doubles. He is only one off the National League lead in doubles. Justin Upton has 36. Braun and Tulowitzki with 35, so tied for 2nd in doubles. I beg your pardon. Put them all together, and he's putting together an MVP type season. Two balls, 2 strikes. Dixon, the tall right-hander from Alabama, strikes out Ryan Braun. Out number 2, back-to-back strikeouts for Brandon Dixon.
And that's that cut fastball that Ryan has having a tough time picking up, apparently. Out of the strike zone. Good, quick, sharp break to it. That's actually the spike right there. See the way he digs that index finger, the fingernail into the laces. It's a good pitch.
Now Fielder with 2 away. Big cut and a miss. One of Dixon's teammates, Adam Wainwright, who is thought of as having one of the best curveballs in the major leagues. Wainwright is injured. He's on the comeback trail after Tommy John surgery. But he throws the curveball that way with the spike curveball, the fingernail dug into the lace. Fielder goes down the line, foul. Plenty of length just out in front of it. Adam Wainwright threw a bullpen session here a couple of days ago and is on the comeback trail. Tommy John ligament replacement surgery in his elbow. He should be back by opening day 2012 for the Cardinals. Fielder strikes out. Molina will have to secure it at first, and he does so. So after the Brewers get a quick 3, Dixon strikes out the side, but Jonathan Lucroy and Corey Hart make it a ball game again from 6-0 to 6-3. We go to the 4th. Houston tonight after the game, starting a 6-game road trip. Houston for 3, then St. Louis for 3, and that'll wrap up the season series against the Cardinals. Brewers are 8-6 against the Cardinals this year. As Yadier Molina leads off, fouls it away. Molina's in a real hot stretch at the plate right now. Had a great month of August and is trying to carry it over in the month of September. Molina hitting .298 coming into play today. Gallardo got him to fly out to right in his first at bat. Well, now the emphasis for Gallardo to shut the Cardinals down. Brewers look like they got their bats going a little bit already. 3 runs on 5 hits. Got to keep the Cardinals at 6.
Yeah,
a lot of runs to make up.
Pretty good turnaround for Dixon in that inning, huh? I mean, bottom of the order, able to do some damage. The Corey Hart home run, and then he struck out 3 in a row to end the inning. Didn't seem to be too phased by those home runs. Came back and did pretty well.
After Gallardo gave up the grand slam to Pujols, had back-to-back strikeouts. Gallardo has 4 strikeouts in this game. Holiday and Berkman 2 apiece. 2-2 to Molina. In the air, foul, out of play.
And Molina, one of the toughest guys in baseball to strike out, and because he's always thinking right field. He stays on the ball very well. You can pitch him in, but if you miss out over the plate a little bit, he still has enough to be able to inside out that baseball up the middle. Well, he pulls the ball really when he has the count in his favor.
That one's hit hard. Drives it into the gap. Over to cut it off. Nyjer Morgan gets away from him, and Molina into second base with a double.
Exactly what I was just talking about. I mean, Molina, they tried to come inside on him, left it out over the plate, and he's so good at staying inside the baseball that he's able to get the barrel of the bat on it and rip it into left center. 25th double for Molina, and you know he's hit them all pretty hard because he doesn't run well at all. Check out the pitch. Bit of a mistake, but able to inside out that baseball and drive it into center field.
Morgan trying to cut it off. If he comes up with it, he'll likely hold Molina to a single, but tough chance for Niger, who was shading Molina into right center field. He had a long way to go for that ball. Gallardo getting hit pretty hard here early, giving up 6 hits. All 6 of the runs coming on home runs. For Call, a solo shot. Pujols with a solo shot and a grand slam. 5 of the 6 RBIs for Albert Pujols.
And the Brewers in an interesting position here today in that they had a short start from Randy Wolf yesterday. Only 5 innings. How often has that been an issue for the Brewers starting rotation? And Yo here in the 4th in trouble again.
Bouncer to first. Descalso will deliver Molina to third base. The first out, and we check in with Telly Hughes.
Well, BA, we take a look at our Dodge Ram game reset, and it was the Redbirds hitting the repeat button to yesterday's game as Rafael Furcal led off the game with another home run, and then Albert Pujols would follow suit, making a 2-0 Redbirds lead. But the big blow will come in the top of the 3rd. Bases loaded. Albert Pujols hits his 2nd home run of the game, making it a 6-0 Cardinals lead. But Corey Hart would cut that lead in half with a 2-run home run to make it a 6-3 ball game, following a Jonathan Lucroy home run and a 6-3 here in the top of the 4th.
A lot of offense early. And now Gallardo in trouble again with a runner at 3rd and 1 out. He does have the pitcher coming up, Dixon, who started the mess in the 3rd. He reached on an infield hit. You're talking about how good the Brewers starting pitchers have been. You got to go all the way back to Gallardo's start on July 14th when he went 4 innings against the Rockies in Denver, gave up 6 earned runs. That's the last time a starter has not gone at least 5 innings in a ball game. That is a significant stretch of games for a starting rotation to go at least 5, and most of those starts have been 6, 7, or even 8 at times.
Yeah, they have been very good. I mean, all year. But you know, when you're talking about a stretch like that, really not having that blow-up start, I mean, that says a lot for what those 6 guys actually have been able to do. Yeah, keep the Brewers in games. You keep that bullpen strong. And it's been pitching, both bullpen and starting rotation, is why the Brewers are in first place.
That's so important for Gallardo to put up a 0 here in the 4th. His offense gives him 3 quick runs in the bottom of the 3rd. He was part of that. He had one of the 3 hits in the inning. Always a lot of talk about momentum in the game of baseball. It doesn't apply. Momentum, as the old cliche goes, is dependent upon your starting pitcher.
Yep.
And that's pretty much
it begins and ends. It begins and ends with your starter. The starter sets the tone for the game. And it really doesn't go from one day to the next.
And that's why starting pitchers make the big bucks, because they are so important to a ball game. And when your starting pitchers are going well, like the Brewers starters have been, everything else seems to fall in place. See Reggie Miller back at the ballpark today. If the Brewers don't win a ball game here in front of Reggie Miller, he might not be asked back.
I think Mark's going to send him out of here.
Just kidding, Reggie. Just kidding. Always great to have you. 2-2 the count on the pitcher at the plate, Brandon Dixon. He's hanging in there, isn't he? He's got an idea at the plate.
Yep.
His minor league numbers show it. Actually drove in a couple of runs at AAA Memphis.
You make a mistake with an off-speed pitch up in the zone, you're doing a pitcher a favor, and that was that last pitch by Gallardo. Left a cutter up in the zone. Stay hard on his hands, you're going to have some success. Let's see where they go here.
Back in there, and there's a fastball strike. So that's a big out for Gallardo. He picks up his 5th strikeout, and now 2 gone with a runner at third, and the infield can loosen up a little bit. AT&T trivia today: who are the 2 Canadian-born pitchers to save at least 40 games in a season? That's a good question. 2 Canadian-born pitchers to save 40. I got a good handle on one of them.
I know them both.
Both of them passed through Milwaukee at one point. Is that too much?
I think
Call takes a strike.
He just gave it away. It's okay though. At least it's not me giving it away. It's usually my job.
A strike. 0-2 on for call. For call with a home run and a walk. He has scored twice. Walked on 4 straight pitches in the 3rd inning. 2 outs, runner at third. Gallardo trying to pitch around a leadoff double. Fastball just missed. Not by much. 1-2 to count. Did he go? Yes, he did. And for call, tagged out Lucroy. A great job to block that pitch. A strikeout on for call. Gallardo gets out of it. And here we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Brewers trailing by 3. The Cardinals with 2 of the first. A grand slam by Pujols in the 3rd. Milwaukee a 3-run 3rd inning. Now McGee leads off against Brandon Dixon. Looked like the Brewers had Dixon on the ropes early last inning. The bullpen activity with Mitchell Boggs. 3 straight hits and 3 runs on the board. But then Dixon struck out the next 3 hitters: Nyjer Morgan, Ryan Braun, and Prince Fielder to end the inning.
And he's starting to break out that knuckle curve, and it's a pretty good pitch. It was that pitch that Casey just swung at.
0-2 on McGee. Lays off at this time. Casey doubled off Dixon in the 2nd inning. Shot run into the gap in right center. I notice Casey's got a little bit different bat at the plate at this point. Dark colored bat. McGee's a pretty consistent guy with his equipment, especially his bat. You know, he always has the heavy pine tar.
They can't see it as well with the black bat. Now, did he use that bat to hit that double in the 2nd inning?
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
I can't imagine he would switch bats after a double.
Might have to go to the videotape.
We are told it is the same bat.
So let's see if it's got another hit in it. But you've always talked about players at this time of the year. You get into the final month, tweaking the bat a little bit, maybe a little lighter.
A little shorter, maybe a little bit longer, lighter, heavier.
Well, McGee takes ball 4. A little bit of a flinch by Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire. Casey threading the needle, taking a chance on a call, and Tony La Russa is barking. McGee draws a walk to start the 4th inning.
Yep, right down the heart of the plate, but Jeff Nelson calling it low. That's a tough pitch to take with 2 strikes. That clearly low. Of course, you can't blame Tony La Russa for wanting it called a strike.
Betancourt now with a runner at first. And it goes down the line. That's going to hook foul. A first pitch breaking ball, and Betancourt pulls it foul.
They can, the hangers are, first pitch breaking balls that are good curve balls, good sliders. You swing at those. Those have you scratching your head. But the hangers, that's a little bit different. You see those pretty well, and Betancourt just couldn't wait back.
Muni grounded out his last time up. Pretty good play over there at third on Betancourt in the second on a big chopper. The play was more of the throw than the ground ball itself. That was a play by Descalso. It made two nice plays in that second inning.
And LaRussa not messing around too much in this game. Activity once again down in that pen. The leash very short for young Dixon today.
Cardinals scoring the first 6 runs. The Brewers put 3 on the board last inning.
You mentioned that Dixon pitched on Sunday against Nashville. Only 50 pitches. He didn't last very long, so he's actually pitching on 3 days rest. Could have something to do with that activity in that bullpen.
To the count on the Brewers shortstop. And he pops it up, foul territory. Descalso for out number 1. Our AT&T trivia. Who are the 2 Canadian-born pitchers to save at least 40 games in a season? And of course, Eric Gagne, former Brewer. He was a Brewer in 08. And John Axford this year. Axford saved his 40th on Sunday afternoon on his 37th consecutive save. Axford sealing up a series sweep of the Chicago Cubs. The Brewers have not won since. They'd love to get Axford back on the mound today in a safe situation. 1 gone for Jerry Hairston. Hairston, as a Brewer, hitting over 300. Came in batting .307 as a Brewer in 25 games. No home runs as a Brewer at this point. Hit 4 home runs as a member of the Nationals. Hairston had a hand injury, had him on the disabled list for a part of the first half. Hairston playing in just his 101st game here today. Just about a month with that hand injury. I think that was the biggest question for the Brewers prior to the trade. Wondering about how a hand injury affects a hitter, especially a versatile guy like Jerry Hairston, and how it would affect his glove. But he's been just fine. He's played very well here.
Did a nice job over at second base. They throw him in the outfield, and he's been swinging the bat pretty well. He's had a nice homestand. Guy that you could see in the number 2 spot in the batting order, does a good job down in the order. Will be a valuable resource as you get through September, even when Ricky Weeks comes back. Matter of fact, before today's game, Jerry Hairston, his homestand 9 for 13. That's a pretty good homestand. Almost 700 batting average.
Hairston with 3 hits yesterday. Drove in a run, had a RBI single yesterday in the 4th inning. 2-2 the count with a runner at first. Just 1 out. And the count goes full, 3-2. This could be a swing hitter in the inning. Well, it has that intensity, does it? Even though the Brewers have an 8.5 game lead. We're sitting here in the 4th inning. Tony La Russa has bullpen activity. It has that feel. We have hit the month of September. No question. 3-2. McGee takes off. Hairston, a shot back up the middle, a base hit. Casey will hold around second.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, Casey thought about it, but Casey not running all that well. Jay with a decent arm, and I think it would have been pretty close. And down by 3 runs, don't take any chances.
And now Jonathan Lucroy representing the tying run his last time up. He belted his 10th homer of the season. Put the Brewers on the board for the first time today.
That 2-0 fastball up and in, and able to hit in the second deck out there and left. Another good at bat by Jerry Hairston. Taking that breaking pitch on a 3-2 count right back through the middle.
Now Molina being sent out to the mound by the Cardinal bench. Perhaps buying a little time. Interesting that La Russa had Octavio Dotel, a guy he would normally use to get out of a late inning jam. He's got Dotel preparing for an early game jam, perhaps.
Well, sometimes the biggest part of the game for you in between wins and losses is early, not necessarily late.
A walk and a hit in this inning. 2 on, 1 away for Lucroy. Got the pitcher coming up next, Gallardo. And here comes La Russa, and you could sense that La Russa was trying to buy a little time. Not just with the visit to the mound by Molina, but then the hold on the mound, and that's going to do it. Brandon Dixon cannot get through 4 innings. La Russa is going to make a change here, sensing a big spot in the ball game. La Russa is all in. Bullpen the rest of the way for the Cardinals as we play in the 4th. We'll take a break. And the 3rd here this afternoon at Miller Park. Tony La Russa is going to make a change. And Octavio Dotel, who normally pitches later in ball games, has been a major league closer, actually has a save against the Brewers this year, is pitching in the 4th inning. And you have to wonder the last time Dotel appeared in the 4th inning of a big league ball game.
Yeah, it's been a while, I would imagine, but only the 15th appearance for Dotel as a Cardinal, and pretty good numbers. 16 punch outs in a little over 12 innings of work, has not allowed a home run. And Dotel in his younger days threw in the upper 90s with that electric slider. Doesn't throw very hard anymore, but he still has that slider. That's a pretty good pitch.
Well, it was a day that La Russa had Chris Carpenter available on regular rest. The Cardinals had a day off Monday, and he elected to push Carpenter back a day to start tomorrow against the Reds, giving Dixon the chance at his first major league start this afternoon. And you can bet that question will be raised after this game as La Russa pulls the plug on his starter, and it's the Cardinal bullpen for the remainder of this game. So Dotel against Lucroy, tying run at the plate in the bottom of the 4th inning. 2 on, just 1 out. There's a strike. Dotel, one of the pitchers that the Cardinals acquired from the Toronto Blue Jays. Mark Zepchinski, the left-hander, and Edwin Jackson, the 3 pitchers that came from Toronto, although Jackson never pitched for the Blue Jays. He was only a Blue Jay on paper. Jackson was the winner here Tuesday. Dotel has always had a good slider. That's his money pitch. Back in the day when he was at the top of his game earlier in his career as a member of the Astros, He had a fastball that was in the upper 90s.
And a very unorthodox delivery, kind of slings it off to the side. That 3/4 delivery making it tough on right-handed batters.
But how about the mentality of a reliever? Octavio Dotel, he's not used to gearing it up mentally for the 4th inning. I'm sure he had to quickly, but this is uncharted territory for him.
Yeah, back in the day, he wasn't even in the bullpen in the 4th inning.
That's right. He would have been sitting in the clubhouse.
Getting a massage, getting ready to close out a game. So, yeah, this is something that he's not used to.
Well, we'll see if the Brewers can cash in on it. 2 on, 1 out. Cardinals looking for a double play ball. As Lucroy fouls it away.
Yeah, it starts like this, and you mentioned Tony La Russa electing not to go with Chris Carpenter and bringing the kid in on short days, on short rest. These are the kind of games that can eat up your bullpen for a while. Maybe 3 or 4 days, you get everybody active. It could affect you for the next series, but I don't think La Russa is worried too much about Cincinnati today.
That's what was so interesting about the decision. Carpenter gets an extra day while Brandon Dixon from AAA is pitching on short rest against the team the Cardinals are chasing in the National League Central. Two balls, 2 strikes. Dixon still a couple of runners out there. His responsibility. And Lucroy strikes out. So Dotel with a fastball upstairs. And there is out number 2. And now the pitcher Gallardo coming up.
It was all fastballs to Luke in that at bat. And Dotel throwing 91-92. The best pitch to hit was the first one, which is ordinarily the case. And just trying to stay hard on Luke. Not giving him a whole lot to hit. And there was another good pitch to hit, and then he elevates the fastball to get him. Actually, 1 slider in that sequence. That was a 1-1 pitch.
Well, Dotel against Giovanni Gallardo. 2 on, 2 out. And Gallardo is swinging a miss. You ask and you get an answer. Our buddy Jason Stark did the homework and reports that Dotel's last appearance in the 4th inning this early in a ball game, 2001, May 23rd of 01. It is quickly 0-2 on Gallardo. .600 major league appearances.
That's pretty good work.
Gallardo in a hole. He's a good hitting pitcher, but a tough matchup. And a swing and a miss. Dotel does the job. He strikes out 2, and the inning is over. The threat thwarted by Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. 6-3, we go to the 5th.
Top of the 5th inning, and today's Tower of the Game winner, AJ's Sports Bar and Grill in Tomahawk, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, AJ's gets 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game in April and May of next year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. That's April or May. You don't get April and May.
You can log on to foxsportswisconsin.com for Paul Emmig's coverage of the UNLV Wisconsin opener at Camp Randall. Check it out now, foxsportswisconsin.com. Big day of sports in the state of Wisconsin. The Brewers and the Cardinals this afternoon. You've got UNLV Wisconsin on the gridiron a little bit later today, and the Packers are going to have their final preseason game tonight as well.
What to watch? A lot of options.
Hopefully Brewers fans will be watching a big comeback. The Brewers down 6-0, scoring 3 runs quickly in the 3rd. It's 6-3 as we move to the 5th now. Octavio Dotel doing a good job getting out of a mess. Back-to-back strikeouts.
Kind of surprising that you would use Dotel for your 8 and 9 hitters in the batting order. Now, Dotel, one of those guys you would imagine come out and pitch another inning, but ordinarily maybe 1-2 innings tops. His spot in the lineup not coming up for a while now in the batting order.
There's a strike call. John Jay is rung up as Gallardo picks up strikeout number 7. Despite giving up 6 runs, 7 strikeouts now for Giovanni Gallardo. And Albert Pujols has been on a home run binge here lately. Had a home run last night. That was in the first inning off Randy Wolf, number 32 of the year for Pujols. And then in his first at bat today, gave the Cardinals a 2-0 lead with number 33 of the season, and then a grand slam in the 3rd inning as he lines one back up the middle, a base hit. Pujols is 3 for 3.
And Pujols has had pretty good numbers in his career against Gallardo, including the 2 home runs today. He's got 4 career home runs, and right now 12 for 25 against Yo. And got a fastball right down the middle, very similar to the pitch that he hit out last night. And just out of the reach of Hairston at second.
So a base runner with 1 away. Matt Holliday coming up. Gallardo has struck him out twice. And Holliday fouls it back. It's always an interesting debate this time of the year when you're talking about September call-ups. The Cardinals brought up just 1 pitcher, and that was today's starter, Brandon Dixon. But you can bet they're going to go to that well in the minor leagues, depending on how many relievers they use in this game today. And you can expand your rosters up to 40 players. So you could have a small army out there in the bullpen. I know Doug Melvin has been very active in trying to adjust the rules of Major League Baseball. I had a talk with Doug earlier today, and he feels like the most fair system, instead of having an unequal number of players on a roster, as Holliday lifts one to right. That is well hit, and that one is gone. Just like that, the Cardinals get 2 back. Matt Holliday with number 20. And this is turning into an afternoon to forget for Giovanni Gallardo. 8-3 St. Louis.
Only 4 home runs allowed by Gallardo, and 22 home runs allowed now for Yo, and he gave up only 12 all of last year. That was a bomb to the opposite field. So 2 of the 4 home runs have been opposite field. 1 for Pujols, the grand slam, and now Holliday over the air trans zone out there. That was hit well.
Now Matt Holliday, number 20 on the year, RBI 68 and 69. That is a milestone home run for Matt Holliday, number 200 of his career. In his 8th season in the big leagues.
Yeah, Ron Renegade rolling the dice, having Gallardo hitting that last inning with a couple of men on, thinking that he'd like to get Yo through the 5th. He's got some work to do to get out of the 5th.
Looks like Yadier Molina, a little chiropractic work in the dugout.
Is Albert hurting today? Doesn't seem like it.
Oh, if he's hurting, you might want to keep it that way. He's got 3 hits, 5 RBIs. Beware of the weary. They swing and a miss. Bergman strikes out again. Gallardo has struck him out 3 times. And 8 strikeouts for Gallardo. which equals the amount of runs he has allowed. You don't see that very often. A high strikeout game and a game giving up a lot of runs.
Yeah, Berkman so far hitless in the series, and the Cardinals have been putting up some big runs without him.
Schumacher takes a strike. Just getting back to that conversation with Doug Melvin, I think he makes a good point. He'd like to see a rotating group of September call-ups, but maybe have a 30-man roster in September. And you can bring as many guys as you want up. They all get service time, and at least both teams are playing with an equal amount of players.
Right.
Baseball is adamant about the integrity of the game and making sure you play with the integrity as far as the rules and the amount of players. It's a 25-man roster until September, and then it can go up to 40.
It takes a while to change rules in baseball. It took forever to incorporate replay into the mix. That's going to be a tough battle for Doug Melvin.
Base hit. Schumacher keeps the inning alive here in the 5th.
The thinking is, though, you want to come up and you want to bring up your prospects, see what they can do at the big league level, and bring them up, get a taste of the big leagues, guys that have done well in the minor leagues. But teams in a pennant race, I mean, it does have a big impact on you late in the ball game. Guys coming in late, pitching, you can make pitching changes all the time, and we'll see how it works out.
Now Renicky is going to make the change here. Giovanni Gallardo cannot get through the 5th. Giovanni's worst start of the season, giving up 8 runs in 4 2/3. He does strike out 8.
I don't think he's made a call yet to the bullpen. And he just did.
So Gallardo will exit. And Renicky will go to the bullpen here in the 5th. It'll be Cameron Lowe. We'll set him up when we come back. Giovanni Gallardo, first starting pitcher not to go 5 innings. Going back to July against the Colorado Rockies, as Cameron Lowe will take over.
Well, 64th appearance for Cam Lowe. He's been throwing the baseball extremely well. He's got his work cut out for him to try and keep this red-hot Cardinals offense down. This guy's been swinging the bat well last couple of days. Back-to-back games with 8 runs. Nothing wrong with the offense for the Cardinals. And one of the best in the business, the best in the National League for sure.
Yadier Molina had a double his last time up, 1 out of 2. It's been a big part of that surging offense for the Cardinals. And a strike from Lowe. 0-2 the count on Molina. A Matt Holliday 2-run homer. All of the Cardinals runs via the home run ball today. 2 solo shots, a grand slam by Pujols, and a 2-run homer from Holliday. Skips away from Lucroy. Schumacher on his way to second. Be a wild pitch. One and 2 on Molina. And he lays off a breaking ball. 2-2.
That's been a good pitch for Lowe lately. He's been throwing a few more breaking balls recently than he did early in the season. And it's been a good one. He's actually got two, a slider type breaking pitch and more of a curveball. And that one just missed the outside corner.
See what he gives him here. 2-2. Big runner to leave stranded at second base. Molina stays alive. She says, honey, why'd you embarrass the whole family? Curveball strike. Cameron Lowe strikes out Molina. Has been using that pitch a lot lately. And a strikeout to end the inning. The Cardinals get a pair. Now the Brewers 5 down. As we head to the bottom of the fifth, Corey Hart will lead off. He homered his last time up. Tough day on the mound once again for the Brew Crew. Yovani Gallardo gives up 8 runs in 4 1/3 today. He's out. Cameron Lowe finished off the 5th inning, and now to the bottom of the 5th with Corey Hart leading off. And it's Octavio Dotel still on the mound. Well, think about the swing from the bottom of the 4th to the top of the 5th. The Brewers sitting there with a tying run at the plate and just 1 out. La Russa goes to the bullpen. He brings on Dotel, who strikes out Lucroy and Gallardo. It's Hart off the end of the bat into shallow center. Jay got a late break, and he'll run it down for the out. 1 gone in the bottom of the 5th. Carsoup.com email the booth question from Peter. With the way Corey Hart is swinging the bat right now, where will Ricky Weeks hit when he comes back?
I'm sure that Ron Renicky, not too concerned about that right now. I find it difficult to take Corey out of that leadoff spot. He's got that good on-base percentage, and it's probably going to take Ricky a little bit of time to get back into the groove. That the minor league season is going to be over. There's really no place for Ricky to go on rehab. So, maybe down in the order initially, but ultimately perhaps back in that 5th spot where he was before he got hurt. He has been missed sorely in that batting order.
An all-star second baseman putting up another big home run season, Ricky Weeks. And that's really the key that you hit on, the fact that the minor league season ends next week, actually on the 5th of September. And so there will not be upper level minor league options. The Brewers will have their instructional league in place, and Ricky could certainly go down there and get some at bats, but not quite the same. Weeks' return being set back a little bit. That ankle injury, rolled his ankle a little over a month ago, and he is in the process of returning, but still having a hard time running right now. The explosion for Weeks has been the problem at this point with that ankle.
There are too many tougher positions, that second base. When you have an ankle issue, behind the plate, catching, that's going to be a big problem. But second base, turning the double play, and those types of things, very tough on those ankles, and it's going to be a while for Ricky. He's been swinging the bat pretty well, though.
2 quick outs for Dotel. Here is Ryan Braun. Braun is 0 for 2. Bounced into a double play, and he struck out. Ryan had 2 hits last night, including that RBI triple. And Dotel strikes him out. So a 1-2-3 inning. Dotel has retired 5 straight with 3 strikeouts. Prep zone. Cameron Lowe back on the mound. He starts his first full inning. Descalso on the first pitch. Bounces out to Hairston. 1 away. How's your football fever right now, Rock? Are you feeling it's kind of hard to get into because it feels like summer still?
Right. I mean, pennant race. I mean, the Brewers with a nice lead in the Central. I mean, thinking about baseball and the other races, and I just can't really sink my teeth into it quite yet. Of course, I'm unique. I mean, I'm kind of a baseball freak.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of it.
Dotel will hit for himself. And we're a little preoccupied with a pennant race.
Yeah, you think? But high school football, huge here in Wisconsin. A lot of people are certainly into it. I know Brian Michalogic is going to be torn tonight on the plane. We have those televisions on the plane. You can watch live TV. Badgers, Packers. Think he could do a split screen for him?
I don't know. He's going to have a few gobbled up. It's going to be like a sports book on that plane with all the monitors he'll have. I'm anxious to see the Badgers tonight. Check them out. See how they're looking. Got a chance to do some damage this year as Lowe makes quick work of Dotel. 2 outs in the inning.
And speaking of baseball, catch all the action of the Major League Baseball postseason this year on Fox and TBS. It all starts September 30th with the Division Series on TBS.
Now that's what we're looking forward to.
Yes, sir.
American League will begin on Friday. The 2 American League Division Series games. And then the National League will be underway Saturday. That'll be a quadruple header of postseason baseball on TBS Saturday. The first Saturday after the regular season.
Now that's a perfect day. That's a perfect Saturday.
It's a good couch day, huh?
Yes, it is. Load up with wings and pizzas. And
you could do almost 3 meals around Major League Baseball that first Saturday.
Big old pot of bratwurst.
Speaking of the racing sausages, good to see the hot dogs all right after his spill the other day. He'll ask if he went. Yes, he did, says Tim Cheetah. And the side retired as the sausages make their much anticipated return here at Miller Park.
Was very disappointing early in the year, but starting to come around a little bit.
Now you challenged him at our little our barbecue,
our Clement grill.
Treacherous footing this week. Both the hot dog and Ryan Braun going down.
Ryan's going to appreciate that.
That wasn't me, Ryan.
The Clement folks had a big tailgate out at the Sausage House last night. A bunch of friends out. Carla, Roger Clement, Jack Belkey, Dan Lipke was in last night. The Sausage King.
Did you attend that function, or were you just reporting?
I wasn't invited.
Oh, okay. I find that hard to believe.
I found out about it, after the game started.
Because if Mr. Lipke didn't have the moniker Sausage King, that would certainly apply to you, at least publicly.
I think they realize that, those things happen around the time we have our pregame shows and getting ready for the game. So they're very respectful of our time up here.
That's nice. And we're very busy before and after the games. Brewers down 5. Fielder leads off, needing some base runners. They'd love to chase Dotel here, but he has been on his game. Dotel has retired 6 in a row and has 4 strikeouts. Well, you've dreamed it. Now you can go for it. January 29th through February 5th, 2012 is the season's Brewers Fantasy Camp at Maryville Park in Phoenix, Arizona. Everything you can imagine and more. Authentic Brewers uniform and batting practice jerseys. Instruction and coaching from Brewers legends. Professional clubhouse staff and athletic trainers. Catered lunch. 2 games daily. Kangaroo court and so much more. Visit Brewers.com for all the information on making the dream a reality. Brewers Fantasy Camp.
Yep, nailed down Greg Vaughn a couple of days ago.
Now he was a coach last year. He was a big hit.
He had a good time. He actually called me. Said, "Can I come back?" Jeff Cirillo called me too, but I have to weigh my options on Rillo.
Gonna make him hold out a little bit, huh?
Yeah, well, Rillo, intense fantasy camp coach.
Very intense. He's kind of like the Bobby Knight of fantasy camp.
I think
coaches.
he's using it as a springboard for a managerial career in the big leagues.
You could easily see him making that jump.
And double switches and having his guys out there running after games when they lose. Just kidding.
That's the beautiful thing about fantasy camp. You can always decline. The coach and the manager works for you.
That's right.
As does Bill Schroeder, which is the best part of fantasy camp. You get to boss them all around.
Yeah, that's different.
It's nothing like bossing around a former Major League All-Star.
Right. That would be Vaughn and Cirillo.
Vaughn.
You're not talking about
Cirillo.
me. Just to make that clear.
He had a good half one year. You should have had a chance at an All-Star game.
Unfortunately, it was like June to August, and it encompassed about 12 at bats. That was a good couple months.
Casey McGee 2-2 in the count. Brewers need base runners. Cardinals have had a steady attack offensively. Got 2 in the first, a grand slam from Pujols in the third, 2 more in the fifth. At one point, the Brewers had the tying run at the plate twice. But you got to give Tony La Russa some credit here. He pushed the right button with Octavio Dotel.
Yeah, all of a sudden, a long man. I mean, Dotel in his 3rd inning of work with 5 punch-outs, and he's been throwing the baseball pretty well. Slider's been good, throwing low strikes on the corners.
Dotel started his season with the Blue Jays. It's interesting, Dotel trying to get to 2 2/3 innings here. He has not gone more than an inning and 2/3 all season, either with the Cardinals or the Blue Jays, and he's only done that on a couple of occasions. And yet he is picking them up and putting them down. He has 3 consecutive strikeouts. He's faced 7 batters, 5 strikeouts total. As Betancourt singles to left, a base hit. So a 2-out single breaks the run for Dotel.
Well, you wonder how much Dotel has left in the tank. I don't remember ever seeing Dotel pitch this many innings. Still has good velocity, but sometimes it's the location that suffers when you're out there a little bit longer than you're used to.
Last time Dotel threw more than an inning, a single inning. He went an inning and 2/3 against the Rockies 3 weeks ago. Strike 2, Hairston. Terry's had a great series. 6 hits, 9 at bats. Had a single his last time up, which brought the tying run to the plate. Two balls and a strike. Now you figure another base runner, and you'd see some activity in that Cardinal bullpen. For now, La Russa, with a 5-run lead, is willing to let it ride with Dotel. Lucroy on deck. 2 outs in the inning. And there's ball 3. 3-1 on Hairston. Frankie De La Cruz getting ready for the Brewers.
Yeah, uncharted territory for Dotel. I'm not sure what he was doing over in Toronto, but don't ever remember having Dotel in a game against Milwaukee. You know, for 3 innings.
Last time Dotel pitched more than 2 innings, he went 2 1/3 back in 2008, September of 08. It's the first time he appeared in the 4th inning, as early as the 4th inning, since 2001 in this game. 3 balls and a strike, and Hairston taking all the way, takes strike 2. It was Azagian who used Dotel more than 2 innings back in 08, pitching for the White Sox. Runner goes 3-2. Hairston draws the walk. And 2 on, and that's going to force Tony La Russa's hand a little bit as Derek Lilliquist filling in for Dave Duncan.
There's still nobody up in the bullpen. Yeah, they had Boggs up a couple of innings ago, so he's somewhat loose. It shouldn't take him very long if, in fact, it's going to be Boggs to get up. But you wonder how much Tony La Russa expects out of Dotel here today.
Wow, and another surprise. His closer, Fernando Salas, starting to.
It's been interesting to watch, you know, how the pitching has been used. Number one, you know, Carpenter not making a start today, but you remember last night, Jason Mott, perhaps his best reliever, was brought in the 9th inning in a 5-run lead. So you've got Dotel, who is ordinarily a 1-inning guy. He's in there for his 3rd inning of work. You've got the closer coming in, or he's getting loose in the 6th inning in a 5-run lead.
Well, the Brewers would love nothing more than to force La Russa to make that move. Here is Lucroy. That holiday home run in the 5th inning is the one that hurts right now. Put the Cardinals back up 5 runs. And a breaking ball, a curveball in there for a strike. Lucroy homered in the 3rd, but then Dotel came on in the 4th inning with Lucroy representing the tying run. And he struck him out. Two on, 2 out. And it's 0-2 on Lucroy.
Yeah, just about all fastballs his last time up against Dotel. This time back-to-back sliders. Not often Dotel faces the same hitter in the same game. Twice.
Can't imagine that he would have done that since that 2008 appearance for the White Sox, when he went 2 1/3. 0-2 the count. Lucroy serves it right field. Right there is Lance Berkman, and the Brewers strand a pair. Dotel gets through it. 2 2/3 scoreless. Far they have hit a ton of home runs in this ball game. 4 as a matter of fact, and all 8 of their runs being delivered by the home run ball. For Call, a solo shot. Pujols hit 2, and Matt Holliday with a 2-run homer. Albert Pujols with 5 RBIs. That solo homer in the Grand Slam today has 3 hits in this game. And there is the story. 8-3 St. Louis. They are trying to sweep the Brewers at Miller Park. It would be the first time the Brewers have been swept at this ballpark all season. Matter of fact, the Brewers have only lost 2 in a row here at Miller Park twice. They're on a current 2-game losing streak. Then you got to go back to July 4th and 5th against the Diamondbacks. Cameron Lowe back on the mound. He's gone 3 1/3 so far. He faces John Jay to lead off the 7th inning. It'll be Jay, Pujols, and Holiday coming up.
Now the Brewers reaping the benefits of that historic winning stretch that they were on in the month of August. You know, really right after the All-Star break and into the month of August, giving him a nice pad to be able to, you know, drop off a little bit. You know, you only wish it wasn't against the Cardinals, who are right behind him in the standings, but sometimes that's how it works out. But I don't think anybody thought that the Brewers going to, you know, win at that pace throughout the rest of the season. It just doesn't happen that way. So you build yourself up a nice cushion. You allow for a stretch where you're not going to play all that well, and that's how you win division titles.
Well, there's a game of peaks and valleys, and you hope that you win enough during the peaks to cover the valleys.
Right.
And that's the idea. So the Brewers are certainly, it's not as if they're giving away games, but sometimes you don't get the breaks. You just don't play well. That happens. You don't pitch well. You don't swing the bat well. And Milwaukee's already been through that this year. They had a 7-game losing streak on the road earlier this season.
Every team goes through it. Every single team goes through it. And you know, the Brewers right now are having a rough time in these 3 games. Not to say it's going to be an extended stretch.
Pujols has been a tough hitter today. 3 hits, 2 homers. Got Matt Holiday to follow. Pujols now with 84 runs batted in. And a big swing and a miss. Remember, Pujols, I think he had a little something going on in his back. He had Yadier Molina actually pop his back in the dugout. Had a little wince after that swing. 1-2 pitch. Sinker ball fouled away. A pitch that Lowe has gone to lately is what would be considered a hanging breaking ball with 2 strikes. But he's gotten a lot of strikeouts with that pitch.
And he got Molina on it last inning.
That one's ripped into left field.
The guy's something else. Albert Pujols.
A 4-hit game today for Albert Pujols. 2 homers, 2 singles.
You got to figure when it's all said and done, Albert's going to be around that 300 mark. He's now hitting 292. Now the Cardinals lead all of the National League in team batting average. They can rake. There's that fastball right down the middle of the plate, and Pujols didn't miss it. Cardinals leading the league coming in at 270. And leading the league in runs scored. And that's one of the reasons why, Albert.
Now Matt Holiday, a chopper to third. McGee goes to second. They get the out there.
That's a nice play by Casey McGee. That ball actually was in the sun, that high chopper. You can see him pointing at his eyes saying, that sun is in my eyes. I need my glasses. And here they go. He takes them from Jerry Hairston, saying, you don't need the glasses, I want them.
You don't see many ground balls get lost in the sun, but that big chopper happened there. Good teamwork in the infield. So 2 outs. Holiday is retired. Reaches on a fielder's choice. Should say Pujols retired. And now Lance Berkman, who has struck out 3 times. Giovanni Gallardo went 4 to third today. 9 hits, 8 runs. Struck out 8. got the pitcher spot due to lead off in the 7th. I'm interested to know who Renick's going to use in that spot. He's got a chance to maybe use one of the young kids just up from AAA. We might have another major league debut.
Taylor Green with a base hit, his first major league at bat last night on a changeup with 2 strikes. He was excited about that last night before the ball game, getting all the congratulations. A day he will never forget. Well, it's perhaps Logan Schaefer's turn today.
Swing and a miss. Lance Bergman strikes out for the 4th time as Lowe puts up another scoreless inning.
Game. It's certainly plenty of time left for the Brewers here, but Davey, they're going through something they haven't for some time now. They were really on historic portions, as BA and Rock were talking about a few minutes ago.
Well, that's right, and we all agree. I mean, they just couldn't continue to play that way and be that hot. So the thing about it now, they've had a few little hiccups in this series. They can maybe still come back in this ball game, but the thing, they have to regroup. And in order to do that, teams really that come back and regroup, they don't panic. They've got a good ball club. They got a couple of young guys. The veterans going to keep these guys from panicking, and they'll be just fine.
All right, it'll be interesting to say what is said in the clubhouse afterwards. Win or lose, we will have it on Brewers Live. Postgame coming up after the game, Brian.
All right, Craig Davey, thank you. As you see, Fernando Salas, who has been La Russa's primary closer this year. Ryan Theriot in the game to play second base. That bumps Skip Schumacher out to right field. As Craig Counsell will pinch hit here in the 7th inning. The way back for the Brewers is to somehow chase one of these relievers. You know, La Russa, because he had to go to his bullpen so early, he went to Dotel in the 4th inning. He has his late inning relievers in the game a lot earlier than they normally would be in a game. So if you can start to tap into that a little bit and get deeper into that bullpen, that's when you start to run into some opportunities to score runs. As Counsell lifts one in the air to left, Holliday's got it for the first out. Not as long as they're mowing down the Brewers hitters, it's not going to matter. The 7th inning is not what Salas has been doing normally for the Cardinals. It's 22 saves this season.
A number of guys with saves for St. Louis, and Tony La Russa has a few guys that he could go to save games. Now you talk about the decision to not start Chris Carpenter today, and should the Cardinals go on and win this game with the young kid making a start, he looks like a genius. And not only will he have swept the Brewers if they win today, then they have their big guns for the Reds coming up.
Yeah, Carpenter's a guy that can reset your bullpen because he's a guy that can go deep into ball games and can go all the way to the finish line. Carpenter will have the Reds tomorrow.
And the Cardinals have 8 different pitchers with saves this year. Salas with 23 of them.
Salas got a save here on Tuesday night in that 2-1 game. Foul ball, just missed the bag at third. And a bunch of finals rolling in. Saw where Brett Laurie hit a game-winning home run for the Blue Jays, an 8th inning 2-run homer. Laurie has now hit 7 homers in the big leagues. He's only been up there about a month right now. He was the player traded from the Brewers to the Blue Jays for Sean Markham. Well, he has burst onto the scene for the Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto beat Baltimore today 8-6. Royals defeated the Tigers in a slugfest at Comerica, 11-8 the final score. Tigers still sitting in the top spot in the American League Central. Detroit starting play today a 5.5 game lead It will remain that way because the Oakland Athletics shut out the Indians 7-0 the final. So Detroit hangs on to their 5.5 game lead. Got the Angels and the Mariners a little bit later tonight. The Rays and the Texas Rangers. Rangers have their ace on the mound, C.J. Wilson. Red Sox hosting New York again, the Yankees and the Red Sox. Little tapper, and it's Molina, throws on the run in time. Terrific play by the Gold Glove catcher, Yadier Molina.
And bounces out there quickly and is able to set himself a little bit off balance, but still able to get enough on the throw to get Hart. An 8-pitch at bat for Corey Hart. And our Home Depot doing more on defense. Who else but Yadier Molina, probably the best catcher in baseball. Not an easy play.
Looked like a third baseman coming in on a slow roller. So 2 men are out here in the 7th inning, and it's Nigel Morgan.
You know what makes that play tough? Kind of a day game after a night game. He's called all 3 games in the series, and sometimes the legs can feel a little bit heavy when you're catching as much as Molina. His 117th game today.
Jeff Nelson heard something in that Cardinal dugout, and he's marking. Nigel Morgan with 2 away. Not sure what was said there or who it came from.
Probably something about the strike or lack thereof. The pitch probably somebody in the dugout thought it was a strike.
Got one final in for the National League as well. The Phillies keep rolling. 6-4 win over the Reds. Philadelphia is now 41 games over 500. It's incredible. 87 wins, 46 losses. Juggernaut. Vance Worley got the win today, Rock. He's now 10-1 as Morgan draws the walk. And there's a base runner for Ryan Braun.
And all of that winning for the Phillies, they only have a 7.5 game lead over the Atlanta Braves. So when you commit with an 8.5 game lead as you enter September, you have to feel pretty good. A loss today at 7.5. That's still a pretty good size lead. But you got to start winning games.
That's the largest lead in any division in baseball. The Braves play later tonight. They have 1 fewer win than the Brewers, 1 fewer loss. They host the Nationals tonight. Braun pops it up. John Jay makes the catch, and the inning is over. We go to the 8th. All Cardinals so far, 8-3. 8-3 Cardinals. Takashi Saito is in to pitch. Hey, there's a hat for you, Rock, on our way to Texas.
Hey, you need that in Texas, don't you? Got the plaid shirt, Spurs.
You don't see many guys walking around with Spurs anymore.
No. How about the straw hat?
Not since the automobile era began.
See, now, I disagree with that. There's some Cowboys out there.
Not usually hanging out at the ballpark with Spurs on. It might be illegal, actually.
I'll give you that.
I don't know if they'll let you in the ballpark with Spurs. See the numbers on Saito.
Spurs and chaps. Now, how about the job by Cameron Lowe? I mean, 2 1/3. Gave up the 1 base hit. That was it. That'll save your bullpen some valuable innings going down the stretch. Saito on here in the 8th. You get this short start by Giovanni today, and you're forced to use your part of the bullpen that ordinarily Ron Renneke likes to save for wins or when you're ahead. Not to say that they've lost this game, but Very rarely do you see Takashi Saito in a game where the Brewers are trailing.
It's interesting that between Gallardo and Lowe, 13 strikeouts to the Cardinals, and you can add one to it here. 14 times they have struck out in this game, and yet they've scored 8 runs on 10 hits. Racking up a ton of Ks.
Well, the big strikeouts and a lot of home runs today for the Cardinals, 4 of them.
Saito's been pitching well since coming back from a couple of different injuries. An oblique injury, had a hamstring problem as well. Spent most of the first half on the disabled list. But you figure his arm is fresh for the stretch run. He and LaTroy Hawkins. Brewers are going to add to their bullpen at some point. Tim Dillard is the likely returnee. He's got to be down in the minor leagues 10 days. Renicky wanted to make sure that Dillard got some innings in the minor leagues before the stretch run, so he's down there pitching for Nashville. As Molina down the right field line, Corey Hart is over, and he's got it. A basket catch for Corey Hart, out number 2.
I'll tell you, Corey doing a nice job. He was playing rather deep, shading a little bit on the line, able to make that catch right on that right field line. But that's a classic swing by Molina. And inside out, leading with the hands and shooting everything up the middle and to right field to make him such a tough out.
Saito with a strike on Descalso. She's got that whole section to herself. Jerry Hairston will make the play on Descalso. Saito a scoreless 8th. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Prince Fielder will lead off.
Pinch hitters, pinch runners. Logan Schaefer very good defensively in the outfield. And you got Taylor Green, who is a very good hitter. He's got some pretty good power. Got his base hit last night. First major league at bat. Maldonado will be the 3rd catcher, and I would imagine used in an emergency, perhaps, pinch running for one of the Brewer catchers. Late in the ball game, can't do that now.
Fielder in the left, and Holiday looks up. That ball is back and gone. Prince Fielder, an opposite field homer. So Prince with number 30. And a milestone. He becomes the first in franchise history to have 5 seasons of 30 or more home runs, 5 consecutive seasons. And it is 8-4 St. Louis.
Yeah, you would think Prince would have allowed me to finish answering that question before going deep. But good to see Prince going to the opposite field. That's where he makes his money, and he's had a rough homestand, but taking that ball to the opposite field, and Matt Holiday just turns around and watches it fly. Got to get Prince Fielder hot again.
Maybe that'll do it. LaRussa sticking with Salas. This is his 2nd inning of work. He squeezed 2 2/3 out of Octavio Dotel. Brewers back within grand slam range here in the bottom of the 8th. Casey McGee at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Doubled in the 2nd, had a walk in the 4th, and was a strikeout victim in the 6th. 1 for 2. McGee down the line. That is a fair ball. Going to go to the corner. And it'll be extra bases again for McGee, his 2nd double.
Now give him a finish. You never know. You got 2 innings to play with. Still nobody out in the 8th. And Salas in his 2nd inning of work. A fastball up and in, and look at Casey pull the hands in. and able to get the big part of the bat on it. Whistles it down that left field line. So you've got Dotel in for 2 1/3, or 2 2/3, and you've got your closer in for multiple innings. Very interesting.
While La Russa has been using Salas as his primary closer, he does not admit that he has a closer, which is why Salas entered this game in the 7th inning.
The guy that has the best stuff in that bullpen for me, from what we've seen so far, is Mott.
Yeah, I agree.
That guy can throw.
And he's been finishing games. He actually had a save on the last Cardinal homestand.
And he finished the game last night with the Cardinals up 5 runs in the 9th.
Well, the Cardinals are walking a fine line here with their bullpen, but only if the Brewers can get deeper into that bullpen does it pay off for Milwaukee. Got a chance here. The run is in. Betancourt at the plate with a runner at second. This is a spot where a quick strike does big damage. All of a sudden, you're a swing away from a 2-run game, and that changes everything.
Man, you talk about the September call-ups, and I think that can play a big part of what's going on in this game as you get down toward the bottom of the order. You got Lucroy in the 8th spot. You've got the pitcher in the 9th spot. You have a number of different players that you can go to, both right-handed hitters and left-handed hitters. So a lot of options for Ron Renicky.
Derek Lilliquist, acting pitching coach of the Cardinals, talking it over with Salas and Molina. Tony La Russa used Salas a great deal early in multiple innings. Matter of fact, he went 3 innings earlier this season, but he has not gone more than a single inning since August 2nd. He went 2 scoreless against the Brewers here at Miller Park. That was the lone win for the Cardinals in that 8-7 extra inning victory. Rhodes the lefty, Mitchell Boggs the right-hander. Down 4. Betancourt at the plate in a hitter's count at 2-0. Fielder homered, McGee doubled to start this inning. Betancourt gets under it, just missed it.
Yes, he did just miss it.
And Holiday is going to make the catch.
He had a good swing at that baseball, just under it enough to keep it in the ballpark. That would have made things interesting. But just a fraction of an inch on that bat.
So the first out. And here's Jerry Hairston Jr. Now the Brewers had 2 on with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Couldn't score them. Had another 2-out base runner last inning. And Braun flew out to center field to end it. Got to take advantage of the opportunities from here on out. And a base hit should score the run. Salas does not have overpowering stuff, but has terrific command.
A good breaking ball. I mean, that's his bread and butter. That's his out pitch.
Got a blown save against the Dodgers a couple of weeks ago. Hasn't given up a run since in 3 innings of work. Now 4 innings of work if you add today's appearance. At the bottom of the order with McGee at second, Hairston batting out of the 7th spot. You'd love to put some base runners on and flip the batting order to get to Corey Hart. And Hairston pulls one foul. Hit it hard, but out in front of it.
Quick hands. I mean, real quick hands on the inner half of the plate. Seeing it well right now is Hairston.
Hairston with a single and a walk in this game. He's 1 for 2. Brewers need a big hit. 1-2 pitch. Up and in. Count evens at 2-2. A run is in on a fielder homer. Prince belting his 30th homer of the season. And a swing and a miss. Hairston strikes out, and there is out number 2. That's a big out for Fernando Salas.
You have 92 up in the zone, and tough to get on top of. You're protecting the plate. Right on the outside corner, up and away. Good 2-strike pitch, and Hairston not able to get a piece of it.
And that'll bring Lucroy to the plate. He homered earlier. Cardinals have hit 4 home runs in this game. The Brewers have 3. The big blow in this game, the Albert Pujols grand slam in the 3rd inning. That was against Gallardo. Pujols has 4 hits today, 4 of the 10 Cardinal hits. Casey McGee still at second base. 0-2 the count on Lucroy. Breaking ball over the head of Lucroy. And Marcotte due to hit next if Lucroy can reach. See what he does with him here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. McGee at second, and Lucroy in the right. This should end the inning as Schumacher is over, and he's got it. And the Brewers strand a runner at second. They get a run, and it's 8-4 St. Louis. Today's game being produced by Chris Withers, directed by Michael Odino. And 8-4 Cardinal lead as we go to the 9th. Albert Pujols at this point, our Menards player of the game. 4 hits, 2 homers, and a solo shot and a grand slam. 5 runs batted in for Albert Pujols, and all of a sudden he's got a chance to get to that 100 RBI plateau. That's how good Albert is in what most have considered a down season in a free agent year. Pujols now sitting at 34 homers and 84 runs batted in.
Yeah, well, you have big days like this, and it all makes everything possible for a guy like Albert Pujols. But you know, that's the second 4-hit game for Albert against the Brewers in the last 4. Last game in St. Louis, he was 4 for 4 against Milwaukee.
He's had 5 4-hit games this year. Frankie De La Cruz is on the mound for Milwaukee to try to close out the Cardinals here in the 9th, and then the Brewers will send up a pinch hitter and then the top of the order in the bottom of the 9th inning. De La Cruz trying to keep it to a 4-run deficit. Ryan Theriot batting for the first time. Came in on a double switch. Tony La Russa got 2 2/3 out of Octavio Dotel. Got 2 innings out of Fernando Salas. And only 1 run allowed in those 4 2/3 innings for those 2. Uni B with a high throw, but fielder makes the play for out number 1. De La Cruz has done a nice job. He did a terrific job yesterday.
Yep, 3 up, 3 down, 9th inning for De La Cruz, and He certainly has done everything that has been expected of him, and maybe more. There were stretches where he had a tough time finding innings. Actually pitched 2 perfect innings last night.
Yeah, retired 6 in a row. He'd been a starting pitcher down in AAA this year, Frankie De La Cruz. Had some big league time with the Tigers. Spent a little time in Japan a season ago. For call, takes a strike. For call started this game just like he did yesterday with a home run. One and 2 on for call.
Yeah, for call batted 7th in game 1 of this series. There's a guy we've been talking about, Jason Mott. Big arm.
Big bouncer. Fielder gloves it, steps on the bag for the out. Out number 2. Taking care of the speedy for call. And De La Cruz has retired the first 2. He'll face John Jay. Cardinals threatening to sweep the Brewers at Miller Park. First time all year the Brewers would be swept here in this venue. Last time the Brewers were swept at home, you got to go back to August of last year. That was against the Dodgers. John Jay sends Braun back a few steps. And a 1-2-3 inning for De La Cruz. Here we go, bottom of the 9th. See if the Brewers have some more Miller Park magic in them today. Wrapping it up here at Miller Park on a Thursday afternoon turned evening here. A 3 o'clock start. And the Brewers trying to come up off the deck to salvage one. Yes, we're headed to Texas. He might be going with us. Brewers start a series with the Astros tomorrow. Zach Greinke will be on the mound tomorrow night. Jason Mott is on the mound right now. Hard throwing right-hander who is trying to polish this one off for St. Louis. He'll have Mark Kotsay to deal with, the pinch hitter, and then to the top of the order Corey Hart, followed by Nigel Morgan. 8-4 St. Louis. Cardinals have gotten terrific work from their bullpen, and they've had to cover a lot of innings today. Octavio Dotel, Fernando Salas. Dotel went 2 2/3, no runs. Salas 2 innings, just 1 run. That fielder home run. Brewers need base runners. Kotsay takes a strike. Kotsay is a pinch hitter hitting .282. He's 9 for 32 with 5 RBIs this year. To the count on Kotsay. Kotsay's wondering if he swung or was it a foul ball. And actually, third base umpire Tim Cheetah says he did not swing.
I think the ball just tipped off his bat. Nope, 1-1.
So the ball must have tipped off Molina's glove.
Yeah.
So they counted a ball and a strike. Now it's 1-2. Mott is starting to emerge as the Cardinal closer. You could see that move. It's not that Salas isn't pitching well. He does have did have a couple of blown saves in August. Salas has been good for him, but Mott has the closer kind of stuff. And it appears that he has tamed his control problems, which plagued him earlier in his career when he first arrived to the big leagues in 08.
And he's got a slider, a breaking pitch that he can get around 90 miles an hour. You don't see that very often. The fastball upper 90s. We've seen him get up as high as 98 with his fastball against Milwaukee.
That's a lazy fly ball to left. And there is out number one. Well, worst case scenario, if the Brewers don't come back here, the Cardinals come in, take 3 in a row. Something the Brewers are trying to avoid. Brewers swept the Cardinals here at Miller Park earlier this year. They took 2 out of 3 in St. Louis. As hard, little flare, that's going to fall. A base hit, and there's a base runner for Milwaukee here in the ninth.
You got the red guys coming up. And set the table. You bring Prince Fielder to the plate, representing the tying run. Corey Hart stays hot. A couple of hits today.
Hart 2 for 5. He extended his hitting streak to 14 games with a home run in the third.
Got it down on the trademark. Broke his bat, but able to dump it into center field.
Nyjer Morgan, a single and a walk today. He's 1 for 3. Jason Mott is coming off quite an impressive month of August. As you see Arthur Rhodes preparing for Fielder, perhaps. Jason Mott with the entire month of August without giving up an earned run. And he gave up just 3 hits the entire month. Picked up his first save.
Yeah, he's got good stuff. I mean, he really does. You mentioned it. He has closer stuff. It's just a matter of whether he's going to be able to throw enough strikes, and it seems like he's been able to do that.
Bouncing ball to Pujols. He'll go to the bag. And there is the second out of the inning. Brewers down to their last out. Ryan Braun coming up. Cardinals will have 25 games remaining after this game. Brewers with 24 left. St. Louis a couple of key series. They have the Reds next, a 3-game series with the Reds, and then the Brewers will be in St. Louis Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Cardinals have to go to Philadelphia for 4, and they host the Atlanta Braves, part of that group in the final month of the season. Aside from that 3-game series with the Cardinals, Milwaukee's only other series with a contender is a 4-game series against the Phillies here at Miller Park. Braun, a little flare. That's going to fall for a base hit. Corey Hart will be held at third. So a base hit for Braun. First and third for Milwaukee with Fielder coming up. Now you're a base runner away from bringing the tying run to the plate.
Yeah, hard to believe Corey didn't score on that. There's 2 outs. I mean, really no issue with having the ball caught out there and getting doubled off. Eddie Cedar holding him up. I guess you don't want to be making an out at home plate, but I don't even think they would have thrown home.
Better safe than sorry, I guess. Now Fielder, who homered in his last at bat. Prince with a home run to the opposite field in the 8th inning. Well, Fernando Salas, his 30th homer, now 103 runs batted in for Fielder. Fielder right into the shift, and that's the ball game, and the St. Louis Cardinals have swept the Brewers. And a lead that was 10.5 when this series began is now at 7.5 for the Brewers with 24 games remaining in the regular season. It is going to get spicy in September. 8-4 the final score. Much more still to come on this game. Craig Kashawn, what do you have coming up on Brewers Live?
Well, take a look at the personalities of these teams in this series. The St. Louis Cardinals coming in on a mission and going out in command with a 3-game sweep of Milwaukee. We'll get the thoughts from Brewer manager Ron Renicky on this series as well as the crew gets ready to head to Houston.